Okay, so here is a quick little tutorial on drawing a couple of different kinds of chairs. I'll keep them to line drawings, make it a little bit simple, and I will do them from a couple of different angles. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we'll start with a simple armchair. Say for your perspective picture, right? Remember, we're doing it for our perspective picture. Say you have the chair somewhere along your back wall, okay? So you're looking at it straight on. We're gonna start with, do the back of the chair first. And then remember, we're gonna be coming out from our vanishing point. So imagine our vanishing point is, above the chair. All right, so we're kind of looking down on the chair. Here are some arms. You can draw the bottom of the chair like this. All right. Bring the arms down here, and here, and here, and there's your seat cushion. And then you can do little legs like this. And because it's a big enough chair, you're not going to see the back two legs. All right, so that's one style of chair and one viewpoint. Okay, so say we are looking, say I wanted to put the chair in the corner here. All right, say so it's kind of angled. It's in the corner, so it's a little angled. I'm not looking at the profile view, which means the side view, and I'm not looking at it straight on, so it's just kind of angled. All right, so think about when we did our north, south, east, and west, northeast, northwest, or south, northeast, southeast, southwest, northwest. All right, it's that kind of concept that we're doing with the chairs. All right, so it is much more complex because it has a lot more parts to it rather than just a cube from different angles. All right, but the more you practice, the more you'll start to understand. So like, I'm gonna imagine a cube here. All right, so if you start with like the chair as a base cube, then you start adding around it. So I'd already started drawing the back, bring the back down here. There is the arm. So maybe I'm gonna do this same style, but from this angle so that you can see. So then I'm going to bring the arm like this and down. And it's gonna have a little bit of a ledge here, like an overlap. See, just like there's that overlap there. Here's the corner of the chair. All right, so this is going to come down here, forward, and there's the cushion. So now all I need to do is erase my cube. All right, remember, do it light until you get it right. And so the legs are also going to be like a cube, but tapered. So they're wider at the top, thinner down at the bottom. And this edge does come out towards us because of the angle that it's at, and that means that we will see this back leg. All right, so I didn't quite round it the way it was, but started doing a different chair style at the beginning. Okay. So let's see, what other kinds of chairs can we do? So let's do, I'm looking at some reference pictures. All right, let's do a beanbag. All right, so that one's kind of just, that one's gonna be really simple. So it's like a rounded out triangle. All right, you can add the seat in there. You can even add the stitch line, and that's going to kind of indicate shape, right? By adding in my stitches, it's a contour line, so I'm going around this corner, just like these kind of wrinkles or pulls in this fabric or pleather or leather or whatever fabric your beanbag happens to be made out of. It gives it form. All right, remember that was our concept for the week. So I'm adding my implied line. Remember, implied line, it's not a full straight line. It's the idea of the line because it's a dotted line, and since I'm curving it, I'm giving it shape. All right, that makes me think of like a baseball with the stitching. All right, so that's another kind of chair. We could even do like a regular chair. Let me find just a regular chair. All right, observation. Observation is key. So sometimes, you know, yes, use your imagination, but how do you remember how to draw things? Like, you know, I need to look at reference pictures. Not everybody's like that. For some things I do have a photographic memory, and others I'm like, oh wait, how does that go again? So I just looked up a basic plain, like, you know, straight back chair. All right, so again, and I'm gonna angle it. So this one is facing to the southeast. So now the other one I'm gonna face to the southwest. So maybe you wanted to put it in the other corner of your room. Actually, no, I'll draw it here. Okay, so, and again, I'm gonna start with my cube top, cube bottom. Say you don't want the legs to go out to the side. Say, or you don't want them to go straight down. You want them to kind of splay out a little bit. So it's still gonna be a box. You're just going to angle the outside lines a little bit. All right, so my lines are not completely vertical. They're not completely up and down. They are slightly diagonal. All right, and the same with this back. It's like we are opening the box, and here's the lid, except it's quite a bit longer than the lid would be. Okay, so now I can start adding in all of my details, my form. All right, so say I want, it's a wooden chair. Do this, like this. I can come, so I'm gonna do, I want to put a cushion, so I'm going to make it a little curved here to indicate that there's a cushion. All right, actually I'm going to extend that out a little bit so that I can angle it and maybe even kind of curl it a little bit. Up and over and along the top. All right, and this line here, okay, that gives it the form. Say I want a little crossbar, because you usually don't have that open of a back of a chair. There is like a bar or two to give the chair a back, or else you'd fall out the back of the chair. Okay, and since we are looking at it kind of from above rather than the underside of the chair, it's going to have a slight, you see a little bit of the top there. Okay, and the legs, again, the legs follow that edge. Out like that, like that. All right, so I'm gonna imagine what I see. Would I see that back leg? I might see a tiny, tiny little bit of that back leg. All right, because that one's curved out, so the other leg would be curved back. So again, I imagine here's my invisible box, and that leg is falling right where it should. So now I can erase my guidelines. So as we're drawing our room, we're just doing the outline. All right, we're just doing the basic outline, and it's when you start and once you have everything set in place that you want to go in your room and you're not going to be moving anything around anymore, that's when you start adding in your value, your shading. All right, so add a tiny little line here. I don't know if it's coming up on the iPad or not, just to give the indication that it's got a little cushion. All right, so it's in the final stages. Once you're done with your outlines, this is when you start adding in your shadow. All right, so we imagine, say your window, well, everybody's window was off to the right, right? So depending on if you have some lighting fixtures in your room, I'm gonna imagine that the light, like maybe there's a light fixture behind the chair, you know, kind of like a little lamp right here. So I'm gonna add a little shadow here. Even if the shadows aren't completely correct, we do need to add some kind of value to show that it's not a flat piece. It's not, you know, just a picture or a cartoon. I don't know if you guys have ever seen pictures of Meow Wolf, but there is a room in there where it's all black and white and gray. And even though the objects are actual, real, physical 3D objects, you can go and sit at the table, you can look around, they're painted in such a way that they look flat. When you walk into the room, they don't look like they're real until you walk up to them and you're like, oh, this is because they're given these dark outlines. There's absolutely no shadow to them. It's really interesting. If anybody's ever been to Meow Wolf or has seen pictures, it is a fascinating place. And some of the stuff is interactive. Like you can go into the rooms, or there's a really neat laser light show thing where you can run your fingers through and create music. So it's a bucket list thing in case you want some place to go once, you know, restrictions have been lifted. It's in Santa Fe, New Mexico, which is about, this is about 6 hours away maybe. All right, and you can add like light shadow here. You can even do just little hatching lines. I know we haven't gone over value yet, but we will be going over value. I think that's one of our last elements. All right, and hatching lines. There's hatching, cross hatching, blending, stippling. I like the blending, but I do use hatching lines on occasion. All right, so you add your shadow in. I know that I had another kind of chair that I drew on my other room. Ooh, there it is. All right, so I had this little chair here, so I can show you how to draw that one. That one's like, it's like a formed beanbag on legs. It's a very kind of retro 1960s style chair. So a very organic shape. All right, and it looks soft and squishy, but they're kind of not. They are kind of they can either be hard plastic or they can be fabric covered, but they're not pliable like the beanbags are. All right, so just a couple of contour lines to show, here's the seat, here's the arm. And for that, I just had little triangles or little cones coming out of the bottom. I don't have any added lines because for this, those are meant to be rounded. They are cones. I want them to be conical legs. So I would add some shading underneath like this. To give it a little bit of form. I'd add a little bit of shadow maybe on the arm itself, okay, along the side. I don't know why my light is always coming from the right hand side when I draw things from my imagination. All right, so just a few ways to draw some different kinds of chairs. All right, thank you for watching. Good luck with your dream room. Continue adding. Remember, it is it's a work in progress. All right, I do want to see your progress pictures, but feel free to continue working on it because I think interior design, house design can be really interesting. All right. Okay, I will be seeing you all soon. Have a great intersession and stay safe.